Hey, what's up, y'all? In this video, we're going to be talking about how to get your new guests to become regular attenders and then assimilate into your church culture. And I'll even share with you the one tweak that we made at my church that ended up getting 80% of our first-time visitors to join the church within 3 weeks. So let's dive into how to assimilate new people into your church coming up. Hey, what's up, y'all? My name is Chris Abbott, but all my friends just call me Abbo. And if you're new to the channel here, we put out brand new videos helping pastors and church leaders with practical tips and strategies to be able to grow their church and reach new people for Jesus. So what we want to do in this video is just kind of walk through some tips for assimilation and how to turn those first-time visitors into second-time visitors, right? And eventually get them to join the church and then assimilate into our culture and our discipleship programs. Plus, along the way, we actually figured out something that we started doing at my church back in 2017 that immediately got 80% of our new visitors to start joining the church within 3 weeks. Right, so literally took our assimilation from 3 to 4 months down to 3 weeks, and 8 out of 10 people who are going through this program started joining the church. So I'll walk you through that here in just a few minutes, but the first thing we want to do is talk about your assimilation map. Now, almost every church has some type of an assimilation map, but most churches have never really thought all the way through it and definitely have never written it down, right? So it's important to just kind of take a few minutes and write out the path that you want people to take, right? So what does that engagement pathway look like? What does that assimilation map look like? Now, this might have a ton of different phases on it, or it might only have 4 or 5. Right? So for example, you might just be trying to get a first-time visitor to come back and be a second-time visitor, then into your membership class, and then eventually into a small group. So if that's your assimilation map, it's very simple, very easy to understand, and that's great. Other churches might have a ton of different phases along the way. For example, you might have a first-time visitor to a meet the pastor, to a second-time visitor, then to a next steps class, then into a small group, then into a serve team, and then from a serve team to become a full-time tither. Right? So whatever that looks like, it's important to think through that, to write that out, and then to start thinking strategically on how you can move people from one phase to the next. All right, now the single best way that I've ever seen to get new visitors to come in and then to come back again is through Plan Your Visit. Right? So Plan Your Visit isn't just an option that you can put on your website where people can sign up to visit the church, but it's actually a new ministry that you can launch as an extension of your guest services. Right? So what we like to do is we just like to find our friendly, extroverted people, right? We call them our people, and invite them to become a part of the Plan Your Visit team. Now, the cool thing is for people that are extroverts, they love meeting new people. They're actually pumped about being a part of the Plan Your Visit team. It's usually only the introverts that freak out about this. So just find some of those people who are naturally friendly, they smile all the time, they're really easygoing, and they're perfect to plug into your Plan Your Visit team. The cool thing about this is when someone shows up for Plan Your Visit and you actually have a host waiting for them at the front door, it's going to lower the barrier of entry, it's going to lower that anxiety, and it's just going to make them feel like they fit in from the moment they show up. And this isn't something that you need to train your people on or anything like that. In fact, it's pretty simple, right? All you're going to have them do is meet the guests when they first show up, have them help their kids get checked into kids' church, right? Introduce them to some key staff and leaders, give them a tour of the property, save seats for them in service, sit with them in service, right? Especially if it's one guest and it's not an entire family, they might feel kind of weird sitting by themselves, right? Nobody likes doing that. It's kind of like the first day of high school when you walk into the cafeteria, right? And you're looking around, you don't see your friends, and you kind of freak out. You feel like everybody's looking at you, so you just sit down at the table by yourself. And now you're like, now I'm the loser at the cafeteria sitting by themselves. Right? That's exactly what happens to all of our visitors. That's why they sit in the back. It's because that's where the door is, right? Like they walk in, they look around, they don't see anybody they know, they feel awkward, they feel like everyone's staring, so they just sit down. Now they're sitting by themselves. Nobody likes doing that. So having a friendly Plan Your Visit host to sit with, again, just kind of lowers that anxiety, makes it so that it's not awkward, and it's like having a friend visit church with you. Now, here's what I recommend. Make sure that every single person has a chance to meet the pastor. Because there's a statistic out there that says that 80% of people who meet the pastor on their first visit will come back for a second visit. So all your Plan Your Visit team has to do is make sure that they introduce them around to some friendly people, right? Sit with them in service, give them a tour of the property, right? Just be a good friend and make sure that they meet the pastor. Now, you also might have meet the pastor pastor be part of your assimilation map. And it might be something as simple as just meeting you after service, right? Whether maybe it's in front of the altar, maybe you have like a separate room where people come to go meet you as the pastor, or maybe you have it on a separate night of the week. I know of one church that does like a dessert night for Meet the Pastor, where like on Thursday night, everyone comes out and they just have plenty of desserts and they have a chance to kind of meet the pastor and hear a little bit about his story and tell him about their stories, right? Just kind of a cool meet and greet on another night of the week. So however you do that, whether or not that becomes part of your assimilation map or just part of your very first visit, 80% of people who meet the pastor on their first visit will come back for a second visit. So it's really important to make sure that you're building that in somehow. Now, the other great thing about Plan Your Visit is that this makes it super easy to invite people to take the next step in your assimilation. So whether that's coming back the following Sunday, whether that's coming out to meet the pastor Thursday night, or even it's coming back to next steps and actually going through membership class and joining the church. It's really easy to do if you have somebody hosting them. And so this is exactly what we did at our church. We realized that when we started doing Plan Your Visit, that what happens is it actually shortened the natural assimilation time that it took for people to come in. And I think it's as simple as this. I think when somebody comes in for the first time, right, they kind of slip in, right, they're looking around, they don't really meet anyone, they might high five a couple of people or maybe shake a few hands, but they don't really make any personal connections. So they have to come back for a while before they really start to kind of fit in, and they might miss a couple of weeks here, or they wake up and their kid had pink eye one Sunday, and then the next Sunday they had a flat tire, and the next Sunday they had a baseball tournament. So it might be a little while before they end up coming back for a second or third visit, which just means it just kind of extends that assimilation process. But what we found is by doing Plan Your Visit and having a friendly host meet them at the front door the very first Sunday, is they started getting assimilated much quicker. They met their host, they met several key staff and leaders, they met a couple of friends, and it sped up that natural assimilation process. So we actually found that 80% of the people who come through Plan Your Visit join our church within 3 weeks. Right? 8 out of 10 people, just because they came through Plan Your Visit. And then the assimilation process ended up shortening, and instead of 3 to 4 months, it came all the way down to 3 weeks. So if you're not doing Plan Your Visit, this is an incredible way to connect with people and grow your church through relationship. All right, so before I get to my last couple of points, I want to hear from you. Is your church doing Plan Your Visit? Have you guys tried any of this, right? What's your assimilation map look like? I want to hear from you. Post it down in the comments below, and if you have any questions, make sure to answer them. I'm going to read all of them, and I'll answer any questions you have about Plan Your Visit, assimilation, or anything else you want to ask me down in the comments below. All right, so next up, what you want to do is you want to make sure to get people into your membership class. And again, some people call this Next Steps. Some people do like a 1-hour class on Sunday and call it Next Steps, or the membership class. Some people do like a 3 or a 4-week extended class like Growth Track, right? But whatever it is, as you're moving people through the assimilation process, this needs to be one of the next steps that you're asking them to take, right? You want to get them to go through membership class as quickly as possible once they've decided that your church is the right fit for them. Now, every church is different, but whatever you do during your membership class, the most important thing is you need to have at least one next step, right? So when they come out and they join the church, you don't want them just joining the church and then kind of like looking around and be like, well, I guess that's it. I'm officially a member now, right? You want to have them do something. So maybe it's join a small group, maybe it's join a serve team, right? Whatever it is, you need to have some type of a next step so that once they come in, they go through next steps, they join the church, and now they know exactly what their next step is. And the best idea is to actually have them do that while you have them there in the room during membership. Okay, and then finally, what you want to do is you want to activate those members after they've gone through membership. So regardless of whether or not they ended up taking that next step and joining a small group or joining a serve team, what you want to do is you want to have somebody follow up with them the next day, and then you want to follow up with them every single week for the next 4 weeks. One of the things that we found is that if you have the same person following up with them every single time, it actually helps to build that relationship and get them plugged in a lot quicker, right? Because it's not just a different person from the church calling every single week, but if you have the same person, right, it's like, oh my gosh, wow, Katie really cares. She just keeps calling me every single week just to check up on me, right? And this is going to help both answer any questions they have, right? Maybe feel any awkwardness that they might be going through as they're trying to kind of figure out how to meet people and how to experience biblical community. And then it'll also help you to be able to help them take the next step. So maybe they joined a small group while they were at your Next Steps class, but they haven't joined a serve team yet. So you can help lead them into that, right? But this is going to build relationship. It's going to help them get assimilated quicker, and it's also going to create a much smoother experience for them as they join your church and become part of the core. Okay, so if you like this video and you'd like to learn more about Plan Your Visit, about how to grow your church, and specifically how to use a simple Facebook funnel in order to attract new Sunday morning visitors, well, then head on over to churchgrowthagency.com or click on the link in the description below. We have a free video walking you through how to do exactly that.